Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the High Moving Podcast. Oh man, I gotta say, influencer boxing is just getting weird. It's lost a lot of luster. Look, Jake Paul, he captured lightning in a bottle against the Tommy Fury fight. A lot of juice, a lot of buzz. And ever since then, it was just kind of like, okay, what is next? He turns around, he fights Nate Diaz. And we all know the reason why Nate Diaz was in that fight. Former UFC guy needs the bag, right? Okay, fine. You want to pivot, catch that fight real quick, scoop. Okay, now the chirp is you need to fight a boxer. Okay, he fights Andre August. Prior to fighting Andre August didn't fight in 2 years or something like that. Or at the time, I don't know, I forgot, he fought, something like that, right? Weird. But either way, he fights Andre August. He snuffs him in the first round, right? Jake Paul's like, hey, I need to fight a boxer. We don't even know how Andre August even was selected. His rollout was weird. He had his social media blocked off for a minute. And then he fights Andre August, snuffs him, and gone, right? We don't hear anything else about Andre August. his continued boxing career or well-being. We don't know anything else about Andre August anymore. That was it. Okay. Then he picks this guy, Ryan Bourland, as the other guy to fight. So he picks another 35-year-old man to fight. And Jake's whole reasoning is, I'm picking boxers. We understand that, not to discredit these boxers. It's their trade. Yes, boxer by resume, but still, this guy is sloppy looking. I mean, he looked sloppy in the ring, right? I mean, this guy didn't even throw a punch, basically. I mean, Jake Paul pretty much just wailed on him. And, the announcers was just all like, oh, Jake Paul's improving. Look at that body shot. Oh, look at the jab. I mean, it's easy to look good when you've been training and taking it seriously, and these other guys are coming to the ring for a check. Now, I am not trying to move the goalposts for Jake Paul. I'm not saying that, he's getting criticized for not fighting boxers. But then, he fights boxers, and then we're not happy with the result. At the end of the day, a knockout to knockout. Okay. These guys are boxers by trade, and I will give Jake Paul some credit that he is trying to fight boxers. However, it's starting to get to the point where the level of competition is a joke. And, Jake Paul his head's getting bigger and bigger, saying that he's the face of boxing and no one's doing more for boxing than what he's doing. I would slow down on that. Okay, you looked clearly you were the better fighter in these last couple fights he had. I mean, he was just a more active guy. We understand that. But these other guys is active? I don't think so. Right? So, we really haven't seen Jake Paul get tested. I'm going to be real. From what I've seen from Jake Paul, the Andre August fight, I didn't really get to see any technical mastery on what he said he's learned and everything. He knocked the guy out in one round. I mean, Andre August had his chin hanging out there all the first round. It got dropped. This other guy didn't even know what he was doing. This so-called boxer didn't know what to do. I mean, Jake Paul really just mauled him, and he got in the fetal position, basically, as you can see here, and that was the end of the fight. But this is enough to get Jake Paul rowdied up. And listen, I was a supporter at first of Jake Paul. I still support, but I'm just watching what he does from a distance. My homie told me about this fight. I forgot this fight was even happening. He texted me. He was like, oh, the Jake Paul fight is tonight. I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't even going to watch it. Then, I got on DAZN. And, before the fight started, I was just like, man, this fight's probably going to be over in the first round. I mean, you see this guy take off his robe. This guy just look out of shape. Everything just bad. So I'm not surprised by the results. Cool for Jake Paul. You beat two boxers. Yay. Awesome. But who are you going to fight next that is better than these two? You fought back-to-back 35-year-old fighters who are clearly washed, boxers by resume, sure. If anything, you should have tried to get another Tommy Fury rematch. But you pick a bunch of has-beens that don't belong in the ring with you, clearly. And, you know, they really haven't tested you. So, yes, you're knocking out these wash-ups. But, again, how can we use this as a barometer to test his real boxing skills that he says he's learned? I mean, from the eye test, I mean, even the Andre August fight and his fight, Jake Paul's footwork and everything still looks a little sloppy to me, honestly. You know, no one has really been able to test him these past couple fights. You know, Nate Diaz, even that Nate Diaz fight, things got a little shaky. He couldn't even knock Nate Diaz out, but I respect Nate Diaz because he's a UFC fighter, so he can take a punch. But even then, he took a couple shots in that fight. Okay, and Nate Diaz is not the so-called boxer. And you couldn't even knock him out. So you fight these other guys who are actual boxers, you knock them out. I mean, this is dog and pony show at its finest. I mean, I think the luster on influencer, celebrity boxing, whatever you want to call it these days, is the juice is gone for me. Let me know what y'all think about this whole fight. This fight was shameful. You know, clearly Mr. Brian Bourland didn't have an adequate training camp. Why should he? Why should these guys have an adequate training camp when they fight Jake Paul, knowing they're gonna get a bag in the first place? So you get these end results. You get in the ring, you take a shot up the chin like Andre August did, or you get in the fetal position and get wailed on. That's it. You got the money. You got a nice little $25,000, and you get to go back home. All right, guys, I'm out. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe.